Hi, Garden City families. This is Mrs. McGuire. I'm the technology staff developer. I'm here to help you learn how to print out your response in Seesaw if you would prefer to do it on pencil and paper. So let's get started. Here I am in my test class, and I'm in as a student, as you can tell. And this is one of the assignments that my teachers have assigned to me. So I would like to print out my response to that so that I can work on it. And then when I'm finished, I will take a picture of it and put it back into Seesaw so my teacher can see my work. So for example, with this activity, which was a place value activity, the instructions were up here. The sample is here for students, but that's not what we want to print. We want to go down here to add response. So once we click on add response, the item will pop up, and this will be the template that I can either do my work on right here, or I can choose to print it. I'm noticing that there are 4 pages to this document, which means we're going to have to print 4 separate pages, one for each of the tens and ones examples that are here. So I prefer to use Chrome. Firefox has a similar feature. Safari has a similar feature, but I use Chrome for everything. So what I'm going to show you is based out of Google Chrome. Most browsers have a little area up here on the right-hand side that you can select and open up a drop-down menu. So again, it may look a little bit different on Firefox. It may look a little bit different on Safari. But what I do when I get that menu, I get a print button, which will allow me to print what is on the screen. So I'm going to hit print. And typically what happens, although I've selected this before, is it will select a printer in my household, or might go straight to save as PDF or something along those lines. Either one of those is fine, but when you're ready to print, you need to have the printer selected. What you'll notice here is it's kind of messy, it's kind of cut off here, it's kind of a weird size and everything like that. It might be too big, it might be too small. So here's what you can do. I prefer to do this instead of this style, which is portrait, I prefer to use landscape. So I'm going to change the layout to landscape. And that way it's going to frame it better on my page, because the way I was viewing it in Seesaw was kind of like what we call hamburger versus hot dog, or this is hot dog versus hamburger. So I can print this screen right now and be okay with it. If you'd like the settings on here where this is set up to be a little bit larger, you can go down to more settings. And again, depending on what browser you're using, you might have more limited settings, you might have more settings. So you can go and make it a little bit bigger because it's in landscape and it's the right frame for this activity. I can make it quite a bit bigger. And let's see what happens here. It'll probably get close to filling up the screen. It gets a little bit bigger. There we go. So I would be quite comfortable with that, and my child can work on that and use the area outside as scrap paper. If you prefer to keep it in portrait, you can do that same thing and just leave it in portrait, and what will happen is it will mainly be at the top of the page and you'll have more of your scrap paper at the bottom. Now in this case, because it's still a little bit big, I have to shift it over a bit and make the size a little smaller in order for it to be framed properly on the page. So that's really your call. Again, I suggest landscape for many of these activities, but not all of them will necessarily be put that way. So I wanted to share that with you, that you have those options. Once you're finished, you're ready, it's nice and centered, and you are ready to print, and you can print out that page. Now, this template has 4 different pages, so now I have to go to this one, which is about, for number 17, I have to do the tens and ones, so I have to go to that page and print that one out and do the same thing. And I'll have to repeat that for all of the pages that are in that particular assignment. When I'm done, I would still save this as a draft. You don't need to submit this yet. But what you will need to do is take a picture of this, the pages that you printed out after the work is done, and you'll need to submit that in here for the teacher. So the best thing for that would probably be to add your work this way by doing just the plus sign, going to the camera, launching your camera. Well, it's launching at me right now, but you would put your document underneath your camera and take a picture of it. Now, if you're on an iPad, it's much easier because you can be facing downwards and take your photo. And that would be, that would be the way to post your work to the journal for your teachers to review the work for your student. I hope this helps, and please reach out if you have any questions. You can access also under the Garden City Maine website. We have a parent resources page that we've put together, and it's, if you go over here to Garden City Public Schools, to parents and online learning resources, sorry. I have a page set up with, and you can, with all types of information to help you on this crazy journey we're on. There's also a special link just for those of you using Seesaw Journal. So I hope this has helped, and good luck with everything, and reach out if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a good night.